Welcome back to the deep dive. We are moving right along in our series, and today we're tackling something that I think is arguably the most important concept we've covered so far.
It's good to be back. I would agree with you. If you get this one concept wrong, nothing else really matters in the long run.
We're talking about the moat. Now,
hmm
usually when I hear that word, I'm picturing a medieval castle, drawbridges, maybe some alligators circling in the water.
Right.
But we're applying this to modern business, and specifically, we're looking at the philosophy popularized by Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger.
And that's exactly the right visual to start with. The castle, in this metaphor, the castle is the business. It's the economic engine that pumps out cash,
Yeah.
and the moat is the defense system.
But let's play devil's advocate for a second. Why do we even need a defense system? I mean, if I build a great product and people like it and I'm making money, isn't that enough? Why do I need to worry about a moat?
That's the intuitive way to think. But
Hmm.
it sort of ignores the fundamental brutality of capitalism. I mean, capitalism is designed to be a competitive system.
Right.
If you start a business, let's say a lemonade stand, and you manage to make, I don't know, a 50% profit margin, that is not a secret you can keep for long.
Right. It's like ringing a dinner bell.
Exactly. It signals to everyone else, hey, there is money to be made here.
Right.
So what happens? 3 other people open lemonade stands on the same block. They see your high margins, and they want a piece of it.
And this is what economists call reversion to the mean.
That's it. High profits naturally attract sharks competitors who want to come in and steal that lunch.
They don't just want to steal your lunch. It sounds like they want to starve you out.
They do. They'll lower their prices to steal your customers. They will copy your product. They'll do everything they can to erode your advantage until your profit margin drops from that beautiful 50% down to a boring average 10% or less.
That sounds exhausting. It's like running on a treadmill that just keeps getting faster.
It is. Unless you have a moat. A moat is a structural barrier that prevents those competitors from destroying your margins. It keeps the sharks at bay so the castle can keep printing money year after year.
Okay, so conceptually, I get it. We want a barrier. But this is where I feel like a lot of investors and, frankly, even business owners get confused. I mean, every CEO goes on TV and claims they have a strong brand or unique technology. It all feels so subjective.
It is.
How do we actually know if the mode is real or if it's just, a marketing slogan?
You are so right to be skeptical. Most CEOs are just cheerleading. But Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, they argue that there is one litmus test that cuts through all of the noise. It is the only true objective proof of a moat.
And that is
Pricing power.
pricing power. Okay, let's unpack that. Because on the surface, it just sounds like being able to charge more, but I feel like there's more to it than that.
Oh, there is a lot more. Pricing power is the ability to raise your prices without losing your customers. And the reason this is the ultimate proof is that it tests customer loyalty in the most painful way possible, by hitting their wallets.
Ah. And there's a famous line from Munger about this, isn't there? Something about the boardroom.
Yes. He said, if you have to have a prayer session before raising the price by 10%, then you've got a terrible business.
I just love that image. You can visualize it, right? A room full of executives in expensive suits, just sweating bullets, holding hands, praying, please, please don't let everyone quit if we charge $1 more.
And that fear is a signal. It tells you that the customer doesn't really care about your product specifically. They just care about the price. If you raise the price and you are terrified they'll leave, you're basically admitting you're a commodity.
You have no moat.
You have no moat.
But let's get into the math here, because I think people really underestimate how powerful this is. Why is raising prices such a big deal? Why did Munger obsess over it?
This is where the magic happens. It's all about operating leverage. Let's do a quick mental exercise. Imagine you have a business. You sell a widget for $100. It costs you $90 to make it.
Okay, simple enough.
So you make $10 in profit.
Got it. A 10% profit margin. Pretty standard.
Now, let's say you have a moat. You have pricing power. You decide to raise the price by just 10%. So now you sell it for $110. But your cost to make it is still $90.
So my profit goes from $10 to $20.
You just doubled your profit.
Wow.
A 10% price increase led to a 100% increase in your bottom line. That is the leverage of pricing power.
That is wild when you put it that way. You don't need to find twice as many customers. You don't need to build a new factory. You just change the sticker price. And because you have a moat, the customers stay and your profits just explode.
Precisely. And that is why Buffett and Munger pivoted their entire investment strategy. They realized that buying a fair business at a cheap price was nowhere near as profitable as buying a wonderful business one with pricing power at a fair price.
And this pivot is actually a perfect transition to a specific story. We can't talk about Moats without talking about See's Candies.
Ah, the holy grail of Moats.
But before See's, Buffett was doing what they called cigar butt investing, which, frankly, is maybe the grossest name for an investment strategy I've ever heard.
It is evocative, isn't it? The idea was that you walk down the street and you find a discarded cigar butt in the gutter. It's soggy, it's gross, but it has one free puff left in it.
So you pick it up and you smoke it.
In financial terms, yes.
Yeah.
You find a dying company, maybe a textile mill that's going out of business, but the stock is trading so cheaply, literally for less than the cash in its bank account, that you can buy it, liquidate it, and make a quick buck. That was the free puff.
But you can't build a dynasty on cigar butts. You have to keep walking the streets looking for more trash.
Exactly. It doesn't compound. You have to work so hard for every single deal. Munger convinced Buffett to stop looking for trash and start looking for castles. And in 1972, they found See's Candies.
Okay, so lay out the scene for us. What made See's Candies so different? Was their chocolate just, I don't know, scientifically better than everyone else's?
Not really. I mean, it's good chocolate, don't get me wrong. But strictly speaking, it's sugar, cocoa, milk, nuts. Anyone can buy those ingredients. There's no patent on a chocolate truffle. The barrier wasn't technical.
So where was the moat?
The moat was entirely in the mind of the consumer. They call it share of mind. See's had built this reputation in California where if you were a guy going to visit your girlfriend's parents or you're buying a gift for your wife on Valentine's Day, you bought See's.
It was the default choice.
It was more than the default. It was a cultural rule. And here's where the pricing power comes in. Every single year, starting on December 26th, the day after Christmas, See's Candies would raise their prices.
Every single year, like clockwork.
Like clockwork. The price of sugar didn't matter. The economy didn't matter. They raised the price. And every year, they sold more candy than the year before.
It defies standard economics. Supply and demand says if price goes up, demand should go down. Why didn't people just switch to a cheaper brand?
Because of what the product represented. It wasn't calories. It was a token of love.
Okay, I think I get this. Let's say I mess up and forget my anniversary. I need to make a grand gesture. I go to the store. Am I going to look at the fancy box of chocolates and say, ooh, that's a bit pricey. Let me grab this generic bag of brown sugar lumps from the clearance bin instead?
Not if you value your marriage, probably not.
Right, because the savings are not worth the signal it sends. If I buy the cheap stuff, I am basically saying, I love you, honey, but only about $4 worth.
That's the psychological hook. You do not bargain hunt for love. When the product is tied to your emotional standing with someone else, you become price insensitive. See's Candies knew that they weren't selling chocolate. They were selling the ability for a husband to walk through the door and be a hero. You can charge a premium for that.
So the moat is that emotional connection. A competitor could come in and sell chocolate for half the price, but they can't sell that hero moment.
Correct. To replicate that, a competitor would need decades of marketing and cultural reinforcement. That's a massive barrier to entry.
Okay, so that's a great example of a share of mind moat. But not every business sells love. Not every business is See's. So how can you, the listener, apply this? If you're looking at a company today, maybe a software company or a clothing brand, how do you test if it has a moat?
There's a practical tool we can use. We call it the substitution test.
I like tests. Walk us through it.
It's very simple. You look at a product or a service and you ask yourself, if this disappeared tomorrow, what would the customer do?
Okay. If company X vanished, what happens?
Right. And you're looking for two very, very different reactions. Scenario A is the strong moat reaction. Yeah. This is where the customer is devastated. Right. They cannot easily find a replacement.
Okay, give us an example of that.
Let's look at Disney. Imagine if Disney disappeared tomorrow. No Mickey Mouse, no Frozen, no theme parks. Can you just swap that out?
Absolutely not. If I told my kids, hey, Disney is gone, but here's a cartoon about a legally distinct large rodent, they would. They would riot.
Exactly. There is no substitute for Elsa.
Yep.
Parents will pay a premium for the Disney experience because nothing else solves that specific problem. And the same goes for high-end luxury, like Hermes. If you want a Birkin bag, you want a Birkin bag. You're not going to be satisfied if someone offers you a sturdy plastic tote from the grocery store.
So in scenario A, the customer says, I will pay whatever I have to pay to get the real thing.
Yes. Now contrast that with scenario B. This is the no moat reaction. If the company disappears, the customer just shrugs and says, meh.
Yeah.
They just switch to the next cheapest option. They might not even notice the difference.
And the classic example of this is the airline industry.
Unfortunately for them, yes. Let's apply the substitution test.
Yeah.
You want to fly from New York to London. You usually fly Airline A, but Airline A disappears. What do?
I go to Expedia, I sort by price, and I book Airline B.
Exactly. Do you feel a sense of emotional loss? Are you crying because you can't sit in seat 14C on that specific plane?
Not at all. Not even a little bit. I just want to get there safely and cheaply.
And because you and millions of other travelers feel that way, airlines have zero pricing power. In fact, they usually have negative pricing power.
What does that mean for the business model? Because flying planes has got to be expensive.
It's brutally expensive. You have these massive fixed costs. You have to pay for the jet fuel, the pilots, the landing fees, the maintenance, whether the plane is full or empty.
So if the plane is flying anyway, you just have to fill the seats.
You have to. And since your customers see you as a commodity, the only way to fill that seat is to offer the lowest price. So Airline A drops the price to $400. Airline B panics and drops it to $390. Airline C goes to $380.
It's a race to the bottom.
It's a death spiral. They compete all their profits away just to cover their fixed costs. That is what happens when you don't have a moat. You are swimming with the sharks without a cage.
This distinction, the Disney business versus the airline business, it really changes how you look at the world. It's not about how big the company is. Airlines are huge. It's about that stickiness.
Stickiness and leverage. If you can identify a company where the customer refuses to switch, whether it's because of love, like C's, or, addiction or high switching costs, you have found a gold mine, because that company can raise prices, compound capital, and survive the sharks.
So let's bring this all together for everyone listening. We've covered a lot of ground, from medieval castles to chocolate boxes. What are the big takeaways?
I would boil it down to three things. First, just the definition. A moat is simply a barrier that protects your profits from competitors. Without it, your profits will eventually disappear.
Second is the proof.
Pricing power. If you can raise prices without a prayer session, without losing your customers, you have a moat. If you can't, you don't. It's the mathematical test of business quality.
And finally, the tool to find it.
The substitution test. Ask yourself, if this product disappeared, would I be devastated and pay double for it on eBay? Or would I just switch to the next cheapest version? That question tells you everything you need to know about the strength of the business.
I'm definitely going to be using that test the next time I check my credit card statement. Do I actually care about this subscription, or is it just habit?
It's a dangerous question to ask yourself. You might realize how many commodity businesses you're actually supporting.
True. But here's a thought to leave everyone with. We spent this whole deep dive talking about a single moat, a single psychological trigger-like love for C's Candies or brand for Hermes.
Right.
Single factors are incredibly powerful.
But the world is complex. Sometimes you get hit with more than one thing at a time. A moat protects a single asset. But what happens when multiple psychological forces hit us at once? That is the Lollapalooza effect. Join us for episode 5.